Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Thursday, June 4th. Ian Cameron and Alex B. Smith with you, ready to break down the Thursday Stanley Cup Final, Game 2 between the Vegas Golden Knights and the Carolina Hurricanes. I've got my Tiger Cats golf shirt on. It's the season opener, though, in the CFL tonight, and it is my Hamilton Ticats in action hosting the Montreal Alouettes. Not only their first game of the season, it's the league's first game of the season. The very first game, season opener, starting here in the Hammer this year. So I will be down there. I'll be multitasking. I'll be focusing more on the Ticats game, obviously, but I'll have the phone going and the Wi-Fi in the place. I'll probably crash the Wi-Fi system trying to stream Game 2 of Vegas, Carolina on my phone while I'm at the game, but we'll make it happen. Actually, you know what? The last time I did it, it was fine. Actually, the Wi-Fi in the stadium's pretty good. So, like I said, we'll get the hockey on the phone still while we're at the CFL game tonight. So, like I said, looking forward to that for sure. A big night of sports, obviously. It was a great NBA, and I'm not Mr. NBA, but that was a great NBA Finals game last night with the Knicks and the Spurs. Telling you, I like basketball. If you give me a good basketball game, I'll get into it.
I watched it too.
Yeah, and it was a great game, no question about that. Well done by the New York Knicks. Brunson was great down the stretch, and they go up 1-0. It was a great hockey night, too. It really, really was in the American Hockey League, where we had Toronto up 2-0 in Game 4 last night against Wilkes-Barre Scranton, and Wilkes-Barre Scranton roars back to score 3 unanswered, take the lead. Toronto ties at 3-3 in the third, and then on a brutal giveaway for poor Easton Cowan, and he was very honest about it post-game, saying, I can't make that mistake, I got to be better. It results in the game-winning goal for the Penguins to beat the Marlies 4-3. That series is now tied at 2, and it's down to a best-of-3 in the Eastern Conference Finals in the AHL, and we can say the same in the West, as the Chicago Wolves end up tying up the series with the Colorado Eagles last night in Rosemont. So that series is tied 2 games apiece. I know Robert was ecstatic about another Bradley Nadeau goal for the Wolves. And what a shot it was. It was an absolute rocket for that goal past Trent Miner, the goalie for Colorado. Was pretty good last night, actually, in that game for the Eagles. But that series now is down to a best-of-3 as well. So best-of-3 in the conference finals in the AHL. We've got Florida, Kansas City. It's now confirmed, Game 1 of the Kelly Cup Final. Shout out to Jordan Sambrook, going for a 4th Kelly Cup championship in 5 years. And they start Game 1 Friday night, tomorrow night. And actually, Kansas City's got home ice advantage. I didn't know that Kansas City actually had more points than the Florida Everblades in the regular season. So Kansas City has home ice in the Kelly Cup Final. But yeah, dynasty, absolutely. I think that already is a dynasty. That's going to be fucking cemented. There's going to be no argument whatsoever. It's a dynasty if they win another championship here. And I wouldn't put it past them, even though Kansas City's got the home ice. I mean, this goalie for Florida, man, Cam Johnson, I think his numbers were 1.44 goals against, 952 save percentage. I mean, crazy good. So looking forward to that series. Don't sleep on the hockey that's going on in the other pro leagues throughout North America. But of course, as always, and I'm trying to think, did we miss any news in the last 48 hours as far as the NHL? I don't think a ton happened as far as newsworthy items. So we can just jump right into the recap of Game 1. And there's really not much to say for me with Game 1. It was a great game, Game 1 on Tuesday night. And I think if you're Carolina, you're just really disappointed that you had a 2-0 lead. You get the first goal from Nikolai Ehlers, the first 2 goals from Nikolai Ehlers halfway through, and you can't win that game on home ice. That's kind of tough. That's kind of a tough pill to swallow. But give Vegas credit, very opportunistic again. And they are they find finishing their chances a little bit easier than Carolina does finishing theirs. I think that's a fair assessment. But Vegas, and Tortorella used a TV timeout, and it was all over the broadcast. He was mic'd up with the great speech he gave to his team when they were down 2-0, saying, hey, no more east-west shit. Get the puck going north-south. Stay with it. A lot of hockey left, clapping them and clapping on the bench, encouraging his team. after that tough start, falling down 2-0. And then sure enough, Shea Theodore made it 2-1 a couple minutes after that. And that's really what got them going. We cash a bargain bin special in game one with close shave Barbashev. I was confident he could make an impact in this series, and he did in game one, tying it up at 2 early in the second period. We cashed that at plus 400. Wild Bill, I mean, you don't think they're happy to have him back? Not only defensively, but if he's going to start chipping in offensively and scoring goals and he puts them ahead 3-2 in game one, that is going to be a good sign for the Vegas Golden Knights. Jordan Staal with a huge goal to tie it. Brett Howden, another one of my favorites, ends up giving Vegas the 4-3 lead early in the third. Shane Gostisbehere ties it about halfway through the third, 4-4. And what an absolutely brilliant pass from Sissons to Tomas Hertl, who now can't be stopped. Almost went 30 games without scoring, and now he's on a tear the last 6 to 8 games. He gets the game winner with about 3 minutes and change left to give Vegas a 5-4 lead. I thought Vegas defended the last 3 minutes as good as you could ask for. Carolina didn't muster much with the extra attacker. And at the end of the day, look, here's the thing. This is the handicap going into game two, which I'll allude to in a minute, Alex. This is either chalk it up to game one issues again, maybe a little, struggle in game one as you adjust to a new series, adjust to a new opponent. Don't worry about it for Carolina. Rod's going to figure it out. He figured it out against Montreal. They had a bad game one, and then they settled it down. And game two and onward, they were the better team, and they controlled the flow the rest of the series. They ended up winning that series. You could be in that camp going into game two tonight, or you could be in the camp that says Carolina is just up against it, much more difficult matchup for them here against Vegas, and it's not a given they're going to figure it out tonight in game two and beyond. That's the crux of the handicap right now, because we did see Carolina play by far their worst game of the series against Montreal in game one, and maybe that's the case here. And game 2, 3, 4, 5, as we roll along, they're going to get better and stronger. Or maybe it's just Vegas is just really, really good. They're a big team. They're leaning on Carolina. Their defense have been active, and let's be honest, they got the better goaltending performance, too, in game one. Carter Hart, he wasn't great either, Carter Hart, but Carter Hart, with the game on the line, when they were up 5-4, he made the big save with the glove on Seth Jarvis. That's more than I can remember any big-time stop I saw from Freddie in game one. And sometimes in a game like that where it's back and forth, that's all it takes. You make that one timely, critical save late in the game like Carter Hart did, and that's all it takes, and that was able to preserve the victory for the Vegas Golden Knights. One thing that has to change going into game two tonight, the top two lines got to be better for Carolina. It was a quiet night from Aho, Svechnikov, Jarvis, and it was a rare quiet night for Stankoven, Hall, and Blake, who have been outstanding. That can't happen. You can have one of those two lines having a tough night. Can't have both of them having a bad night in the same game. And that is what we saw from Carolina. So both of them got to step it up. Rod Brind'Amour was asked about it. Aho was asked about it. You need more from your big guys, especially that top line. I'm going to give the second line a pass because they've been so damn good. Hall, Stankoven, and Blake. But Aho, Svechnikov, and Jarvis, it's not been an overly great, dominant playoffs for them. That line's got to give more. And we'll see if they can do that game two and beyond here in this year. But credit to Vegas. Great performance. Found a way. I love the stick-to-itiveness, the mental toughness. Down 2-0 early. Could have easily gotten out of hand away from them. They reeled it back in and got a big-time game one road victory, Alex.
Yeah, and we like, overs. You like the over trifecta. I stuck with everything kind of early in
yes.
that game.
Pretty easy.
And we kind of felt that would be that formation of, okay, like I said, new series, new opponent, kind of feeling things out. I mentioned about how Vegas, when you have series that are pretty much in your, same time zone, or you're not traveling much like they had. You had Utah, Anaheim, and Colorado. So you didn't have to do much travel. Now here you are, 2 games having to go cross country. They showed a hell of a resilience with any of the things that could have been held against them. They were able to push back and persevere. So it'll be interesting to see what things look like now. They've settled in, been there for a couple of days, and we've seen this how many times in series, not just a cup final, but just any playoff series where team jumps out on the road, has a nice win, able to weather that storm, if you will. No pun intended with being Carolina, but then that second game, things kind of balance out, and you see that home team kind of get back into shape. So, like I said, we'll talk about it, but I think we're going to see more of what the series as a whole is going to look like, as far as Carolina pushing back, and as far as I don't think we're going to see a 5-4 game here again tonight.
Yeah, I'm all over the map with this game from sides and totals, and you're going to find out right now as we dive into game 2. We've got Vegas, Carolina. Vegas leading the series 1-0. Carolina minus 160 home favorites. How about that? We actually see Carolina laying a bigger price here in game 2 than they did in game 1. Odds makers adjusting for the bounce back spot, potentially. The Carolina will play better tonight. 5.5 the total. Look, if you think Vegas is undervalued, I don't blame you. How many wins in a row has this been now for them in the playoffs? They swept Colorado. They took game 1 of this series. They won the last 2 games of the Anaheim series in the second round. So that means you do the math, and my math's, I think, still good enough to pull this off. So that's 7 in a row that they've won here in the Stanley Cup playoffs, Vegas. So again, it's been very, very impressive. So, 7 consecutive wins overall, 6 is at plus money. But Carolina is the ultimate bounce back team. They haven't just been good off a loss. They've been incredible off a loss. They've been almost unbeatable off a loss, this Carolina Hurricanes team. You have to go all the way back to the middle of January in the regular season. That's the last time the Hurricanes lost 2 straight games. That is a long time ago. They are a perfect 12-0 off a loss, the Carolina Hurricanes. In their last 12 situations off a loss, regular season and playoffs combined, 12-0 off a loss since January. And they got to have this one, I think. It's not truly must win until the series is over, but this feels like a pretty damn close to you got to have it type of win here for the Carolina Hurricanes tonight, especially knowing how great you've been off a loss. So I do expect them to come out strong here tonight. As far as this game goes, I know there's always that prisoner of the moment theory, and I feel that even on social media, people just one game and writing off Carolina. I mean, it's pretty crazy to see that. And Vegas can win this series, absolutely, but just there's people saying that this is done, this series after just one game. I think we've seen enough from Carolina to know that, they're always, they seem to make at least some adjustments. Now, there's the adjustment that has to be made, I don't think is tactical necessarily or lineup based. You just need your top guys to produce more, especially Svechnikov, Aho, and Jarvis. They got to get going for Carolina. They will not beat Vegas with them doing bubkus offensively. Okay, they've got to step it up. I'm totally giving a pass to Taylor Hall, Logan Stankoven, and Jackson Blake for a little bit of a subpar game the other night because they've carried this team through the first 3 rounds of the Stanley Cup playoffs. They've been their best forward line. Thankfully for them, they had Shane Goss to spare, step up, score a goal. Jordan Stahl suddenly is starting to find some offense for this team. The captain, his goal was significant the other night. Nick Ehlers, of course, with the 2 goals. For Carolina. That's why you got him. That's the biggest positive out of game 1, Alex. They got Nikolai Ehlers for a Stanley Cup Final series such as this and he had a good playoffs, if you'll remember, for Winnipeg last year too. So he's certainly delivered the goods here as the playoffs have gone on for the Carolina Hurricanes. The top line's got to just get it going. And Rod Brindamore, he didn't really call them out, but he said, we just need them to get on the score sheet. You can't win this series without those guys, getting on the score sheet. So it'll be interesting to see if they can find that offensive breakthrough here. And Hal in the chat was bang on. Yes, there was not a single power play goal in game 1. Every goal was an even strength goal in game 1 the other night. So very interesting to see that. And it wasn't a game filled with a ton of power plays necessarily. So I would expect this game to be a tighter game. We've seen the total, 5.5 with juice at some books. It's 6 at other books. So we have seen an adjustment where it was 5.5 at even money in game 1 as far as the total is concerned. What I'm going to do here in this game is I'm going to take Carolina, a rare Carolina in regular. I mean, I can't lay minus 160, but I'm going to trust Carolina can get it within 60 tonight. Here in game 2. So Carolina in regulation split with I'm also going to take a small shot too with this because I feel if Carolina is going to win, it's going to be because they get back to structure, shutting it down, One of these games, Alex, where you look at the shots on goal in the third period and it's 30-16 for Carolina, something like that. That's going to be the formula, I think, for success for them. And just putting a blanket over this Vegas Golden Knights team, which is not going to be easy to do because, as we've stated, Vegas has really picked it up offensively. 5 goals in game 1. We saw 5, 3, 4 in 3 of the 4 games against Colorado. But when you look at Carolina's victories here in the playoffs, every playoff victory for the Carolina Hurricanes, the 4 against Philly, the 4 against Montreal, I'm pretty sure every game against Ottawa, too. They gave up 2 goals or less every single time. So I'm going to dabble in the team total under here for the Vegas Golden Knights tonight. Just a small one. I mean, maybe they can't shut them down completely. Vegas is humming offensively. That is a concern. But the blueprint for Carolina is you beat this team by keeping them below 3 goals. We'll see if they can get back to that here tonight. And I do have to bet the first period over, though, once again. Simply have to. Not the full game tonight for me, just the first period over. But we have to be on it. Carolina is probably going to come out strong. That would not shock me one bit. They have only lost 1 game previously here in the playoffs, entering tonight's game. And, of course, that was the 6-2 loss against Montreal. They bounced back. They won game 2 against the Habs, 3-2, albeit they needed overtime to do it. But in that game, we did see them score the first goal. Montreal responded, and we did see the first period over cash, though, in that game 2, where Carolina was off the loss in game 1 to Montreal. Their only previous loss here in the playoffs before game 1 the other night in the Stanley Cup Final. So I am on first period over, Carolina and Reg. I'm going to look toward a little piece of Vegas team total under 2.5, because it seems like the pattern is if Carolina wins, the opponent's not getting more than 2 goals. It has been pretty damn consistent in that regard. Alex, game 2, how are you approaching it here? Golden Knights, Hurricanes.
Yeah, I'm expecting a bounce back from the Hurricanes as well. Like I said, this price is lined like we're seeing 160, 170.
Oh, shit. First goal, first period, Carolina. I'm on that, too.
Yep.
And then, by the way, I think it's 6 or 7 in a row, Carolina, first goal, first period as well.
Yeah, I'm on that. That's plus 110 at FanDuel. That is one of the bets that I did grab early in the first period, along with a little piece of the first period over, minus 124, what I grabbed over at FanDuel, and a little piece of plus 190 for both teams to score in the first period. Don't like that as much as I did in game 1, but it is that's one on my card. Like I said, I like all the looks early. As far as full game goes, I'm going with a little parlay action. I'm going with Carolina and under 7.5 tied together, minus $1.10 over at FanDuel. Like I said, I just think we see, what we were kind of anticipating in game 1, goals early, things kind of settle in, teams making their transitions, making their changes after the first period, and then things kind of slow down a little bit. So Carolina with the under 7.5 as a parlay, along with first period over, first period both teams to score, and Carolina to score first goal.
Yeah, you know what? The regulation bet for Carolina for me was not overly small. I'm gonna I think take a little bit of that too, because the price is good on it. Carolina money line. That way you don't have to worry about overtime anymore with that too. Like, what if it is 3-2 Carolina in overtime, like it was game 2 against Montreal, right? You don't worry about that if you got Carolina and under 7.5 parlayed. I'm going to put a SGP with that. I'm also going to put a SGP and split it up with Carolina money line first period over, parlayed together as well. Carolina money line first period over, parlayed together. So there you go. That'll be a good price on that for sure as well. So that's another way you can go about it, because the one thing you will not see me do, even though I'm going to trust Carolina tonight to play a lot better, to bounce back and tie up this series, riding that 12-0 run off a loss, entering tonight, I still can't get there at minus 160. Not a chance. You've got to get creative if you're going to take Carolina. Minus 160 in a series that's closer than that, in my opinion. I mean, and if Vegas wins tonight, this could just be a case of, wow, this series was power rated wrong right from the beginning. If Vegas ends up going up 2-0, because and it, certainly based on what I saw in game 1, minus 160 does not seem like it should be this expensive for the Carolina Hurricanes. So even though I'm going to back them tonight, you got to get creative. You just can't look toward minus 160 on its own. You can, and you could certainly cash, but I just don't like it at all from a value standpoint or the potential flow of this series no question. So, like I said, I like those SGP creative looks. Alex mentioned the Carolina and under 7.5. That's one that obviously you're going to be able to get, at certainly a good enough price in that even money range. And I'm looking at the Carolina money line and the first period over parlay. That one is plus 180 at Bet365. I don't know if it's better price at FanDuel. I'll have to see what the FanDuel odds are, but it'll probably be close to that. But yeah, plus 180 for Carolina money line and first period over parlayed together. That's really good. It's a good price.
Yeah.
Now, that's a lot better than minus 160 because you got to factor in that this is, I think, for Carolina. Now, this is on the coattails of Montreal, who had a monster first period over streak between the Buffalo series and the Carolina series. So Carolina's kind of riding the wave of that a little bit. But I think for Carolina on their own now, it's 6 straight games for the first period over for Carolina here in the playoffs. Every Montreal game was a first period over and game 1 of this series. I think before that, though, the Carolina first periods, some of them were unders. Right. So it's a 6-0 run for first period over for Carolina. Yeah,
plus 167 if you tie in Kane's money line with Kane's with the first period over at FanDuel.
Right. There you go. So it is better at Bet365. So I'll lock that in then at Bet365 because it's plus 180 there. Yeah. I'm diving in with the top 2 lines tonight for Carolina for props. Now, you're not getting as good a price with Aho, Svechnikov, Jarvis for goals and assists as you would, the second line. But I'm still going to look toward, especially shots on goal. Like Jarvis was ripping the puck. You can see he's trying to do everything he can to get on board. And really, he almost scored, should have scored, but it was robbery by Carter Hart late in the game. But Seth Jarvis is someone over 2.5 shots. You can see he's pushing, to get on the board for this Carolina team. He went over 2.5 shots in game 1. Speaking of shots on goal, we've got William Karlsson for Vegas now. 4 straight games he's gone over 1.5 shots on goal, and I think it's great value still. I know Carolina could do a much better job suppressing shots tonight in this bounce back spot, but I still think when he's gone over 4 straight and the price is only, it's a plus price still at a lot of books for Wild Bill over 1.5 shots. I think you still got to look at it. Tomas Hertl has gone over 1.5 shots in 3 straight games. We talked about how he's really picked things up, so you could look at the point prop and or split goal and assist with him as well. Jordan Martinook and Jordan Stahl, the law firm of Jordan and Jordan, they've gone over 1.5 shots on goal in 2 straight games for Carolina. My guy, Close Shave Barbashev, along with Pavel Dorofeyev, both went over their shot number in game 1 for the Vegas Golden Knights as well, as did Brett Howden, as did Shane Gostisbehere, who, by the way, is starting to become a lot more involved offensively for the Carolina Hurricanes. Gostisbehere, 4 straight games with a point, and it's only plus 120, plus 125 for him to get a point, and he's actually scored a goal in back-to-back games. Game 5, the closeout game against Montreal, as well as Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final. Goals were scored by Shane Gostisbehere, so I like that as a value shot on the goal side of things. Plus 570 in and around that range for Shane Gostisbehere tonight for the Carolina Hurricanes. And I've noticed it too. He's certainly been much more aggressive at getting involved for the Hurricanes from the blue line. Plus, like I said, plus 550 looks like the best price out there right now for Ghost as far as the goal prop, which he scored now in back-to-back games. Barbashev, I'm going back to the well there. Brett Howden, I'm going back to the well there. Probably going to look to Tomas Hertl as well because he's really starting to heat up. But those are the main 3 goal props on the Vegas side. I don't hate Karlsson either. I told you Karlsson could be sneaky for the Vegas Golden Knights, and he had a nice goal in game 1 as well. And my favorite goal props for Carolina outside of the longer shot with Gostisbehere, tonight's the night, I think, for Stankoven, Blake, and Hall. I would expect both those 3 guys to play. I don't have confidence necessarily in Jarvis and Svechnikov and Aho producing off a subpar game, but have you guys seen 2 bad games in a row from Hall, Stankoven, and Blake, that second line? I don't think I've seen 2 bad games in a row, all playoffs from them. So I have a little bit more confidence there in Hall, Stankoven, and Blake finding the back of the net for Carolina. So I like the props more for them going into this game here tonight in game 2. I think that's about it. I would maybe consider Carter Hart over saves tonight because this feels like that. And Vegas is good at blocking shots. We know that. But This feels like an unload the kitchen sink game for Carolina. Very important to tie this series up before the scene shifts to T-Mobile Arena Saturday for Game 3. And Carter Hart has still gone over his saves prop. 3 of the last 5 playoff games, 6 of the last 10 playoff games entering tonight. So I do have some interest there with the saves prop on Hart as well. All right, great stuff. Shout out to everyone in the chat at the like button. We appreciate it very much. Looking forward to Game 2 tonight. I'll try to, see as much as I can of it. I'm still going to be focused more on the football, but like I said, I'll still have it streaming. I'll know what's going on. And like I said, looking forward to it here tonight. We'll be back with you Saturday. Looks like we're going to have a guest with us Saturday. I'll save it for Saturday who it is, but looks like we'll have someone joining us on the show on Saturday. Make sure you check out wizardsportspicks.com. CFL season, of course, begins tonight. My plays will be posted on the site for that. NHL and NBA finals, of course, still going. MLB as well. Check it out, wizardsportspicks.com. And, of course, patreon.com/Ice Guys. $10 per month. Goalie charts, totals charts. We've got our daily betting card. Tonight it's a Stanley Cup Final betting card, but on the non-NHL game days now for the rest of the Stanley Cup Final, we'll have our, MLB, CFL picks and other sports, NBA finals from me. If Alex has anything in boxing, UFC, the combat sports, anything else over the summer months, we'll post those on the Patreon page as well. And shout out to Addison. Addison just decided to DM and say, hey, you're looking to post stuff in other sports, plays and bets for our Patreon subscribers that are going to stay on throughout the off season. He chipped in some Formula One stuff, something I don't know anything about, but Addison, who follows it, loves it, bets it himself. And I posted some of his Formula One betting recommendations for this upcoming weekend on the Patreon page. The Monaco Grand Prix, I think, is the one that's running this weekend. So, and he's good. He knows it. So there you go. Check that out. Thanks to Addison for providing that. We posted that on the Patreon page. So again, check it out. $10 per month. Your membership goes a long way to supporting the show, keeping it going long term. We've got lots of Players Suite Series interviews on the horizon to record during the off season over the summer. Free agency recap show in July will be exclusive to Patreon members. All that and more. Patreon.com/Ice Guys.
And also check out the Ice Guys store, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. You got 6 days left to save 20% off everything in the store right now. Just hit that redeem button right at the homepage, add your items to your cart, and 20% will be taken off the checkout. Summertime is a great time to grab a couple t-shirts, maybe even grab a hoodie, grab a cap. We've got all kind of wonderful merchandise items that you can grab right now and save 20% for the next 6 days over at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
There we go. Great stuff indeed. And I knew I forgot something when I was doing the Patreon promotion. Betcast, yes. Next week we have 2. We have the free-for-all Betcast Tuesday next week for Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Final. Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. That'll be free-for-all, the last free-for-all Betcast of the season. And then Thursday, Game 5, will be Patreon exclusive. 8 p.m. Eastern. So 2 betcasts next week. We would have done one this week and one next week, but scheduling conflicts. Hey, shit happens. I didn't ask for the CFL to start the season on a Stanley Cup Final night with the Ticats playing. Probably would have been tonight, but I'm at the Ticats game. So we're going to do 2 for you to make up for it, back to back, Tuesday and Thursday. Stanley Cup Final betcasts next week. Tuesday free for all. Thursday Patreon exclusive. All right, bargain bin special of the night. Best bets coming up right after we hear from our great Ice Guy sponsors.
Wizard Sports Picks, featuring the finest handicappers in the universe. Sharp insights, trusted picks, and relentless results. We strive to help you become consistent winners. This is Wizard Sports Picks.
Please for yourself with my mouth is no
All right, good stuff. By the way, speaking of music, I just I posted this on Twitter. It's funny. I was a big fan of Puddle of Mud. Puddle of Mud was like a band in the early 2000s. They had a slew of hits, some really good ones. Control, Blurry, Drift and Die. Go on down the list, some really good ones. Psycho, that was a good one. Spaceship is one of my favorites. That was a great hit, man. That was later, a few years later. Great song, really catchy. And then the lead singer, Wes, got in a lot of shit, man. Jail and lots of issues. Really demons. He's battled some real demons in his life. I was thrilled to see. I just happened to see it on my YouTube feed. They've actually come back and they put out some new music the last year or two. It's pretty good.
Really?
20 years later. Yeah. Wow. So it's nice to see he's still going and in better way right now, obviously, than he was. So, well, way to go, Puddle of Mud. That's going back in time. I was listening to them in high school. That's how long ago it was. So, so that was pretty cool to see. They're back and doing a bit of new music, no question. Nice. And by the way, I was at the Guess Who and Don Felder concert here in Hamilton the other night. It was absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely great, man. Felder can still play that guitar for the you know, he did Hotel California that night, and he still does one of the great guitar solos of rock history, man. And he's still great sounding still, and he's in his 70s now. He's no spring chicken. And of course, Burton Cummings and Randy Bachman aren't young guys either. It was a great concert. American Woman, No Time, No Sugar Tonight, Clap for the Wolfman, which was a song they wrote for based on Wolfman Jack, the great radio man from the 70s. It was great concert. Really good. Really enjoyed that. Yeah, really enjoyed that. That's another, and that was on Tuesday night during the Cup Final. So, like I said, at a concert Tuesday night and at a freaking Ticats game tonight when the hockey's going on. But hey,
so you're at the end of the year.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But it is what it is. Taking care of business. Yeah, they did. Oh, and even though it was a Guess Who concert, they still let Randy perform some BTO stuff, taking care of business. But baby, you just ain't seen nothing yet. Did that song too. It was a lot of fun. Good concert. Hopefully we got good picks here for you now coming up. Bargain bin special of the night. We got cashed one in game one on Tuesday with Close Shave Barbashev, Ivan Barbashev plus 400. See if we can add to it tonight. Alex, we'll start with you. Game 2, Stanley Cup Final, bargain bin special of the night.
Yeah, we both like that second line for Carolina to step up and chip in again tonight where they didn't in game 1. I'm looking at Jackson Blake to get not 1 but 2 points tonight. You can get that plus 420 over at FanDuel. I think he's going to make a statement, not necessarily just scoring goals, but maybe setting up his teammates as well. So Jackson Blake, 2 points or more, plus 420. That is my bargain bin special for game 2.
All right, good stuff. So over 1.5 points, Jackson Blake for Alex B. Smith with his bargain bin special of the night. My bargain bin special here for game 2. I'm just gonna switch it up here, and I'm gonna go with Tomas Hertl for Vegas plus 360. I mean, it was him, it was Barbashev again, it was Howden again. They were all on the radar, but I'm gonna, just for sake of being a little bit different, Tomas Hertl, and he's heating up. It's not that Tomas Hertl anymore that went almost 30 games without a goal. He's got confidence. He scored the game winner in game 1 the other night. So Tomas Hertl plus 380, the best price out there for him to find the back of the net for my Vegas bargain bin special for tonight. My Carolina bargain bin special here for game 2 tonight. I'm just going to ride the wave with the Ghost, Shane Gostisbehere, plus 550. Back-to-back games with a goal. We like the great goal-scoring streaks, at great prices. And we've got that here with the Ghost, Shane Gostisbehere. So plus 550 for him, along with Tomas Hertl for Vegas, plus 380. My 2 bargain bin specials here for game 2 in the Stanley Cup Final. All right, best bets. Alex, what do you got for best bet?
Yeah, let's go with a little parlay action for the best bet for game 2. We're going to go with Carolina money line and the under 7.5. You can combine those two together and pair them at minus $1.10 over at FanDuel. Like I said, I think this is going to be more of a lower, slower game, and I think Carolina finds a way to even this series up before they head to Vegas. So Canes and money line and under 7.5 as a parlay, minus $1.10. That's my best bet for game 2.
There we go. My best bet. Well, I tried to get creative with the bargain bin special, give you something different. I'm not giving you something different here. I'm going back to the first period over here with Vegas and Carolina. 6 in a row for Carolina. first period over is cashed. It easily hit in game one. I think this will slow down more after the first period tonight here in game two, but I still expect game two tonight rather. Still have at least 2 goals and get over in the first period. So Vegas, Carolina, over 1.5 first period for my best bet here for game 2 of the Stanley Cup Final. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. We're back with you on Saturday, and we'll tee up game 3 with our special guest. Looking forward to that. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday. It's every game day now. Every Stanley Cup Final game day. When it's weekdays, it's 2 p.m. Eastern. When it's weekends, it's noon Eastern. And if you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Alex B. Smith, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Thursday night. Enjoy game 2 of the Stanley Cup Final, and good luck. We will be back with you Saturday, noon Eastern, for another edition of the Ice Guys.